Hey folks, Real Honesty with John Ritlin. I'm John Ritlin, and this is the flip side of my top 15 best women's champions in WWE and Impact Wrestling, TNA, whatever. I mean, I know it's Impact Wrestling, but some people still call it TNA. This is the flip side. Top 15 worst women's champions. And I want to take a moment to thank at WWE Fan 1991 Ashley for suggesting this show topic to me. She actually has another topic that she suggested to me. Top 15 or top 10 favorite current women in wrestling, WWE or in wrestling in general, and then top 15 or top 10 women favorite women of all time in wrestling. Both lists are coming along, but they're going to take some time. But Ashley is awesome, a great person, and I'm glad she suggested these topics to me. For others that suggested topics to me, I will get to them when I can. I got about like 35, 40 shows that I got backlogged in addition to my regular Raw, SmackDown, and various reviews. So I'll get to them when I can. So just thank you very much for your patience. But again, thanks to Ashley for suggesting this because it's a pretty good list. I mean, it took a bit of editing, and this one includes pretty much no Impact Wrestling Knockout Champion reigns. And here's why. The Knockouts division for a good while was really good. I mean, Taylor Wilde, you could argue her reign wasn't that great because of how it was booked, but I wouldn't call it the worst. And then there were others where the women worked hard. Maybe they weren't booked the best, but the women worked hard. So I'm not really going to do that because WWE's had some really bad women's champions, divas champions, whatever, and that's why I'm going to put them on here. So number 15, Brie Bella, because she barely held it for that long. I mean, it was a few days, if I'm right. A few days, and then she lost to Beth Phoenix. It was Brie or Nikki. I mean, I believe it was Brie. At that time, they were sort of interchangeable because Nikki had not had the cosmetic stuff done to her chest, and they looked more similar. Where the twin magic stuff actually worked. Brie just, mainly because it was so short and it was just pointless. It was just not that interesting. Number 14, Alicia Fox. Sorry, had to do it. This is actually before, she got paired with Noam Dar. I cannot name one good thing about Alicia Fox's title reign in 2010, except that apparently it was Cameron's favorite match. Melina and Alicia Fox at SummerSlam 2010. I mean, that's since become a running gag or whatever, and thankfully Cameron's out of wrestling because she never belonged in there in the first place. But yeah, Alicia Fox, it was just unmemorable. And Alicia Fox is a good athlete. I think she's only going to be 30 this year, maybe 31, and now she's arm candy. Is she injured? Is she unable to wrestle? Because she's got a lot more to offer. But yeah, I just can't think of her. I can't think of anything memorable from her title reign. It was just bad. I mean, I know it was for multiple months, but it just wasn't interesting. And that's why it's here at number 14. Number 13, Eve Torres. Because her title reign came like so quickly out of nowhere, and then she held it for a few months, and then she lost it to Caitlyn, I believe, in January 2013, and then she was done, and she retired. Eve seems to be doing just fine outside of wrestling. I mean, good for her, but nothing was memorable about her title run. That's the thing that's a recurring theme with a lot of these title reigns is that nothing was memorable about them. It's like, or they were so short, it was like, okay, well, that was it. I mean, hot potatoing the title. At least it's something WWE got out of doing. Oh, wait, no, they didn't. I mean, come on. You've done it on Raw. You've even done it on SmackDown to an extent. Granted, one was because of Naomi's injury, which is not her fault. Freak accident, and Naomi will be back at Mania, hopefully. And can claim the title back in her hometown, which will be good for her and her fans. But yeah, Eve, sorry, just not memorable. Number 12, Ivory, same thing. Especially her 2001 reign. I think it was late 2000, early 2001 to like Mania 17. Because she was doing the right to censor stuff, and Ivory's a damn good wrestler, but just was not allowed to really show that. Now, granted, the ring gear that they had her wearing, the long white shirt and the long black skirt, probably didn't help matters. Couldn't have been easy to move around in that stuff, but yeah, Ivory it just wasn't as good as it could have been when Ivory's a really good athlete. Which leads us to number 11, and I'm probably going to get some hate for this, China. China's big. Maybe I'm just the only one that thinks this, but China's big win and winning the women's championship at Mania 17 did nothing for me. Mainly because I didn't care for the feud between her and Ivory. It was a big moment for China, and she seemed happy, and that was great. But then a couple months later, her contract was up, and she faced Lita, I believe, at Judgment Day 2001, won to retain the title, and it left soon afterwards for circumstances we will not discuss here. And the title was, since she, left with the title or whatever, since she left as champion, they didn't bring back the title until Survivor Series 2001 when Trish Stratus won the six-pack challenge. But if China had not left and had a reign maybe till SummerSlam, this probably wouldn't have been on there because it would have been from Mania to SummerSlam, could have had some good title defenses. But a couple title defenses on pay-per-view, maybe one, really, that's it. She won the title and then she leaves with the championship a couple months later. Whatever the circumstances were, it just made it one of the worst title reigns because it took this big moment for her and then just shot it down. I'm taking it easy on what I said because China did pass away, and that is terrible. Even if some people felt it was coming because of unfortunate circumstances. Thankfully, hopefully she's at peace now. But yeah, just her title reign just is number 11 because I didn't care for it. Personally, I did not care for it. Number 10, Nikki Bella. I know I'm going to get hate for this. Look, this is not going to become a Nikki Bella bashing session. I got that out of the way in 2015. And part of the reason I got it out of the way is I realized looking back on some of those reviews, thinking back to it, because I don't watch my own shows. I don't. I do not rewatch my own shows. I'm not going to rewatch my own shows. People have, taken clips of it and said, hey, what do you mean by this? And they would send it to me in DM. And it would be from old reviews in 2015, even early 2016. But mainly 2015, where I would hammer on Nikki Bella constantly being featured as the women's champion. Or Divas champion at the time. I want to make it clear that Nikki could have actually been a really credible champion and probably would have made my best women's list. The problem was booking. She didn't defend the title nearly enough. She won the title in a 30-second squash with AJ, defended the title the next pay-per-view, didn't even always appear on some of the pay-per-views, and most of the time when she appeared, it was in tag matches or multi-women matches. Now, she was injured. I admit that. And that was a way to protect her. But that just showed that it was more of a spite reign to get AJ Lee off the books because WWE decided to be petty there. And it was ridiculous. I'm putting it on there because the title was not defended nearly enough, was not made important, and I'm not blaming Nikki. I'm going to blame creative more than anything. I do find it a little convenient that she became the longest reigning women's champion, that they chose her of all people. At least they didn't choose Eva Marie, thank God. And I hope Eva Marie's gone from the company because no one needs her around wrestling. But Nikki's on here at number 10 mainly because creative just didn't want to make the title credible. They didn't want to make it matter, and that's really what's kind of ridiculous because this could have been way better, and it was really badly booked. And especially near the end when Nikki managed to, retain it long enough to just get the record and then lost it at Night of Champions and all the steam was out of everything. Yeah, it wasn't exactly the best booking. Again, not blaming Nikki, but that's why she's here at number 10. Number 9, Melina. She had good matches with Beth Phoenix and a few other women, but I cannot name a great grand moment that Melina had as far as a reigning women's champion or Divas champion or whatever. She beat Alicia Fox at WrestleMania, or no, not WrestleMania, but SummerSlam 2010, and then lost it, I believe, January of 2011. I want to say, did she lose it to Natalya? Is that when Natalya had one reign, and I'm trying to remember exactly when it happened. I don't remember who Melina lost it to specifically, because if it wasn't Natalya, then I'm lost, because the women's title picture got really muddled there. I just can't think of much memorable stuff that Melina did, with the championship. And it's not that she didn't work hard, I just can't remember anything where it's oh yeah, that was a great moment. Her matches with Beth Phoenix are about the only things that stick out. And then number 8, Maurice. Look, I'm sorry, but Maurice hit a really cool DDT. That was it. She had a hair flip. She never had the look of a wrestler. she did work hard, but this was at a time when the women's division was not booked all that well. I don't know. I just never... Until AJ Lee broke the record, Maurice was the longest reigning Divas champion. And AJ Lee deserved a better reign than she got. But yeah, Maurice's reign was meh. It was eh. I mean, that's really what it was. And it's like her current run is eh. I mean, she's good. She's good at just being there, just to talk and not to wrestle, which worries me about this mixed tag match that's going to happen at Mania with her and Miz versus Cena and Nikki. But yeah, Maurice is just meh. And then number 7, Jazz, because Jazz was made of glass. Anytime she won the title, she was made of glass and didn't have it that long, where she did. Her matches with Trish were cool. She was part of a good 3-way match at Mania 18, and a good 3-way match at Mania 19. But by that point, she was out of the company. I think by 2004, or she was often injured. She was brought to the ECW brand that WWE relaunched. And was gone within a little bit. And part of that was injuries, and part of that was probably her wanting to get out of wrestling. Yeah, her matches with Trish are good, and those 2 3-ways I mentioned, but she didn't have very long reigns, and not very memorable. Number 6, Candice Michelle. She worked hard. I didn't care for her as champion, and the fact that she wrestled Beth Phoenix, and Phoenix had to sell for a woman that didn't even look like she could put a dent in a feather, just killed the credibility right there. Candice worked hard, I give her credit, but she got way too injured and couldn't get the title back. So, yeah, I mean, like, she had a 3-month reign, and boom, that was it. Flamed out really quickly. Thank God Ashley didn't win. Ashley Mazzaro, that is. Only because she couldn't stay healthy either. And part of that could be the road schedule, part of that could just be the injury bug. I'm not blaming these women in particular. A lot of it seems to come down to injuries and bad booking. But there are a few that's not the case. Number 5, Jillian Hall. She barely held it at all. And she was a worse talker. She was not a very good wrestler. Didn't seem like a bad person or anything, but I just never understood the appeal of Jillian Hall. So anyway, my producers decided to make some noise. So anyway, Jillian Hall gets here on this list for that specific reason, because she just wasn't that interesting. In fact, I'm going to bring up somebody who is interesting. What did you think of Jillian Hall? Purr? Okay, purr. Anyway, moving on from that. She wants to make some noise, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring her up on the camera because she hates that. Jillian Hall, though, number 5. Stephanie is number 4. Because even though the women's championship at that point was like deader than a fish left out of the water for like 10 days, and smelled just as bad. And I'm not talking just about Stephanie herself. It was just bad. It was just bad because it's like she won it with all the help in the world, and then retained it with all the help in the world, and then Lita finally beats her, which was good. I mean, good for Lita, but it just killed whatever credibility they were trying to build up with the women's championship. It was just bad. I mean, I think Jacqueline was the champion that Stephanie beat. And the only reason I put Jacqueline on here is because Jacqueline's title reigns weren't all that memorable. And Jacqueline was a damn tough woman. Her and Gail Kim had a great match at Lockdown 2007. Which is a match I suggest people go and check out. And that was later in Jacqueline's career. When she had more miles on her, but was still able to put up a good fight. Though, yeah, just Stephanie's on there because it was just bad. It was just a bad title reign. It was just stupid, and it was spiteful, and it was just a way, oh, daddy's little girl got a championship because she has to, and now she's emasculating all the male fans on TV. In fact, or all the male fans, all the fans, and all the male talents on TV. In fact, I'm actually probably going to rant about 10 things WWE needs to change for their TV product later on a later date. Number 3, Kelly Kelly. I'm going to tell you why I rank Kelly Kelly higher than Stephanie. Because Stephanie only had one reign. I mean, and Kelly Kelly, the fact that Kelly Kelly was booked to beat Beth Phoenix, especially in Beth Phoenix's hometown of Buffalo, New York, was ridiculous. Kelly Kelly was not a great wrestler. I mean, hopefully if she comes back to WWE, she learns how to run the damn ropes. She's not a bad person. From what I understood, she's a very nice person. But just as far as wrestling in the ring, pathetic. Just pathetic. I mean, am I saying I can get in there and do that? No, I'm not saying that these women weren't tough for trying to get in the ring and work hard. I'm not saying that. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. And Kelly Kelly was an example of how it didn't work out. She retired, I think in 2012, if I remember right. I think she left the company soon after. Soon after, losing to Beth Phoenix. I think right after Mania 28, which is fine because, sorry, she didn't do anything for me. She wasn't interesting on TV, and she was a lousy Divas champion. And she fit the time period because they didn't care about women's wrestling at that point. It just wasn't good. Number 2, Deborah. Why Deborah was ever allowed in wrestling, I will never understand. Well, I mean, I know she was the wife of Steve Mongo McMichael, who got brought to WCW to be one of the worst color commentators, wrestling announcers this side of Josh Matthews. Josh Matthews, though, was infinitely worse because Mongo just suffered head trauma. I'm not sure what Josh's excuse is, except maybe for his stupid fashion and his horrible way of being a heel. He's not the GOAT. He's more of a slaughtered goat. In fact, I think a slaughtered goat could announce better than Josh, but I'll do that, and I'll do that rant later. Deborah was just horrible. Not attractive at all. And lousy in the ring. I mean, the women's side was just a prop at that point, so it's not like she was going to move the needle as far as great women's wrestling. But it was a slap in the face to the women in the company that worked hard. I mean, hell, Terry would have been a better women's champion, and Terry should have never been in the ring. All due respect to Terry Runnels. Terry Runnels, who is a great talent. Terry, even was better as, a valet or backstage announcer, because she could cut a really good promo. But Deborah was pathetic. Hated the business, you could tell. Just wanted to be on TV. Despite looking like, despite looking like her chest was going to give her 2 black eyes as she ran too fast. And no, that is not a domestic violence shot. I seriously thought that if she ran too fast, her chest was going to bounce up and hit her in the face. Because they were huge and pushed up to astronomical levels, almost to where they were under her eyes. Deborah's just bad. Bad in the ring, bad on the mic. Idiot. Just idiot in the wrestling business. I don't know about her as a person. I'm not gonna sit here and slander her as a person. She just was horrible in the ring. And number 1, Sable. Because it had to be Sable. Because Miss Sable, Miss Rena Marrow, now Rena Lesnar, wouldn't take bumps, wouldn't learn how to do business right, wouldn't want to, get hurt or whatever, wouldn't want to hurt her precious plastic surgery-ridden body, which is the only appeal she had, because it sure as hell wasn't her voice. It sure as hell wasn't her personality. I don't even think she could spell personality, let alone ever have one. She was ridiculous as a women's champion. Ridiculous. She couldn't do anything. She couldn't cut a promo. She couldn't work. Luna Vachon made her look better than anybody. Any woman that got in the ring with her made her look better. Even Tori and Sable, Tori, ended up not being all that great of a worker, but at least she tried. Sable never tried. Sable was pathetic and garbage. Sable was goddamn garbage in the ring and horrible. She was like watching skin grafting, and actually was almost as painful, except at least skin grafting is necessary. Sable was not necessary. Sable, pathetic, useless, worthless woman on TV. And I'm going to stick by that. If you guys are fans of Sable or any of these women, that's great. But I hated watching Sable because I never understood why she was found attractive. And that's all good if you guys found her attractive. I just didn't. And I'm sticking by my opinion. And I'm always going to stick by my opinion. Anyway, do you agree, disagree with this top 15 list? Like, share, comment, subscribe. My Twitter link is in the description. I would like to thank Ashley again at WWEFan1991. I will put her Twitter handle in the description also so people can follow her if they want. But this has been Real Honesty with John Ritlin. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.